Hello, I'm Fiona and I'm Head of Primary here at Nexus International School. I'm here to tell you a little bit more about our future-facing education. Firstly, Nexus is a truly global community. We have over 46 different nationalities represented across our primary school. We follow the IB Primary Years Programme Framework. It's a transdisciplinary programme which in its simplest forms means that we're always looking to make connections across different curriculum areas to make the learning as authentic and meaningful as possible. We start with our early years. Our learners are only 3 years old and in nursery, and early years goes through to year 1 where they turn 6. They then go into the primary years programme in year 2 when they are turning 7 and go through to year 6 when they're turning 12. From there, it's a seamless transition to secondary, to year 7, where they follow the middle years programme. As part of who we are, we embrace a restorative approach to mending relationships when learners disagree with one another. We try as much as possible to avoid a punitive approach. We also nurture a growth mindset in the primary school, really powerfully believing in the plasticity of the brain and the ability for it to grow and develop. Having said all this, one of the first things people notice about us are the bespoke learning environments that you'll see when you come to school. Our learning environments are designed by teachers for learning. So they're created to maximise the learning potential in all our learners and to utilise the environments as a third educator, if you like. To maximise those learning potentials, every learner needs a space where they can learn in the style that they learn best with. So we know there's no such thing as an average learner. What we actually know is that the neural connections that are created when learning happens are as unique as the learner within which they are created. And therefore we need to cater for a variety of learning because we know that variety is actually the norm and not the exception. So as such, our learning environments are designed to facilitate as many different ways of learning as possible. So you may wish to learn by yourself as an individual. You may wish to learn alongside a peer or a buddy. You may wish to learn in a group of peers or in a group with a teacher as well. And our flexible learning environments have been designed to maximise this learning at all times. The IBPY Framework is a transdisciplinary programme of learning. It's designed to create lifelong, internationally minded learners. Essentially, we have 6 transdisciplinary themes, and it's through these 6 themes that we teach our curriculum areas. Our academic rigour comes through the scope and sequences that sit under those curriculum areas that are actually mapped from nursery all the way through to year 6 to ensure a vertical progression of learning. The ATLs, or the approaches to learning, are the skills that we use for learning, such as communication skills or research skills. And these are a common thread that actually sit through the whole of the PYP framework. The learner always sits at the centre of everything that we do, and they're surrounded by the learner profile. The learner profile is essentially a set of characteristics that lifelong, internationally minded learners have. And as such, you will notice that we celebrate them throughout the school. So what's the goal? What's the goal and the purpose of our environments, of our curriculum, and of who we are and our way of being here at Nexus? Ultimately and increasingly, we live in a world where the future is uncertain. And I strongly believe that our role as educators is to prepare even our youngest children for that uncertain future. The only thing we know that probably will happen in the future is change. So how do we prepare our children to be able to not just cope with change, but actually see it as a catalyst, as an inspiration for growth and development? There are 3 key skills that can help our young people with this. Essentially, it's resilience, that idea that we're able to bounce back, that we're able to face adversity. A second one is a sense of connectedness, the idea that we're able to connect with people in different ways or have emotional intelligence. And lastly is this idea of learning agility that I like to think of as this idea of knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. These 3 areas don't sit alone in silos. Actually, they are completely reciprocal and symbiotic with one another. And through our flexible learning environments, our transdisciplinary approach to learning, our inquiry-focused curriculum, our use of restorative practice, the way that we try to utilise a growth mindset, and the way we look towards learners having an appropriate voice, choice, and ownership of their learning, all these things come together to grow these three key skills of resilience, connectedness, and learning agility, and therefore enable us to prepare our learners for a future that's likely to be full of change.